Welcome back to the channel, Reason Through Time. I'm your host, June Torres, and today it's gonna be a nice fun video. On my podcast, I talk about my journey when it comes to fitness, and really learning what fitness is all about. Okay, I've always been someone who worked out. I not work out, but also playing sports. I played tennis in high school. I've always played basketball, football. I've always been somebody who's always been active. But in terms of fitness, no, I don't think I really understood what fitness was all about, because it's not just going out and playing sports, but it's also how you eat, how much rest that you're having. It's a combination of things. And part of the journey that I've taken in my quest of really knowing what fitness is all about is running. Running has been something that I've just really focused on running and learning how to breathe, like really breathe, and really breathing from your diaphragm. If I'm saying it right, diaphragm, where you're expanding your lungs and you're not doing this. You're not, as you can see, I'm not even moving my shoulders. I'm breathing from in here and really taking in all the oxygen, and also exhaling, breathing from your nose and really, and then exhaling from your mouth, right? Things are like that, right? Just learning. But one of the key things that I picked up on, and it wasn't because someone told me, it wasn't because I saw a fitness guru, not a fitness guru, but someone who's into fitness talk about it. No, it was just, I was on Amazon. I saw the product, and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to buy that. I'm going to buy it. I think that will be useful. Okay? I think I didn't know how useful it's going to be, but I gave it a try. And what is this thing I'm talking about? Well, that is the Indo Board. And if you guys don't know what the Indo Board is, I'll show you right now. So this right here is the Indo Board. So it's a board. As you can see, that's a good view on it, right? It's a board like this, and that's the bottom side of it, right? And so you take this board, and as you can see, this is where you are on top of. It's basically a balancing board, all right? So this is the board, and you balance yourself, obviously, on a cylinder, which is this right here. This is, hold up, I think the light. Yeah, this is it right here. Boom, that's the cylinder, okay? So, you may be wondering, how has this helped me with my running? Or it's helped me a lot with my running. I realized when I started doing, my first day, first of all, I was surprised that I was able to, my first time doing it, I remember it came on a Friday. It came on a Friday. I mean, it arrived on a Friday, and I got on it for a few minutes. I was in the kitchen, and I was using the kitchen sink to kind of keep myself balanced. But the next day, Saturday, it's really, well, I was like, you know what? I'm not even gonna I'm not even gonna hold myself on anything. I just want to see how good how good am I at my first try. And surprisingly, I was good. Like I was surprised I was able to hold my balance on the board. But obviously, as I really got into it, especially as I'm standing, my feet. But once I started to like go down on my knees, as if I'm like surfing, that's when the board started going like this, and I started to lose balance, right? But as I continued with the board, it helped like open my hips. Like I realized, like, because when you're on the board, you're like this, right? You're like this. So then when you want to switch feet, not switch, but when you want to kind of like move and kind of like go like this, I realized how tight I guess you could say my ligaments were. Like I realized, like, oh, the way I was moving on the board, like my hips and just like I don't know what you call this muscle here, but the leg muscle, like the I guess the hip socket where your leg goes in, I could feel all that tightness. I'm like, whoa, I'm really tight. I started to realize that even I felt like my ligaments were all like not ready to pop. I think that's the wrong word to use, but it just felt like it was not movable. That's how I felt. That's how it basically was like my ligaments and my ankles, my calves, everything just felt like what are you doing? Like you're trying to do moves and move left and right and keep yourself balanced, and my legs was like, yo, I haven't, like, I can't do this. This is too much. But as I proceeded, you know, now what I can do on the board, I could do several things. I'm not no expert, trust me, I'm not an expert on this thing. But like now, what I can do is I can, as I'm on the board, one of the things I can do is I can now basically do a 360 on the board, and then I can also go all the way on the edge of the board and then bounce myself all the way towards the end. And trust me, that is hard to do. There's the one trick that I can't do yet is when obviously you're standing up like this, and as you're standing and you're trying to basically go from a standing position to basically putting your knees on the board, and basically you're on your knees now, and you basically just allow yourself to kind of like open up. That is hard to do, because to make that transition to your knees, because once you go all the way down the board, now you're on all fours. And once you get on your all fours, to now get your hands off the board, that's so tough, man. Because that you need to find that transition from letting go of your hands off the board to now bouncing yourself with while you're on your knees on the board. And that's a tough thing to do. But going up and down the board, again, going on the very edge of the board and balance myself, those are things I can do. And what I do is now, when I'm on the board, I try to stay on it as long as possible without fucking up. But it has made me more nimble. I don't know if that's the correct word, but it's made me more flexible. Now I have more mobility in my legs. As I'm twisting and everything, like it's just, I'm more like just flexible. I think there's no other word to describe it. It's just more flexible. Because part of this journey that I'm on with fitness is also realizing, obviously stretching is very important, but also mobility exercises, which I've never done. Well, I've done it when I was in school, but I never seen what was the point or the purpose of it. But like, for example, a lot of mobility exercises are basically exercises that move those joints, all right? Moving your hips, moving those hip sockets, all right? Moving your ankles, like those connections, like your wrist, those connections. What happens is, especially as we get older, we are not moving as much as we did when we were younger, when we just all over the place and we are climbing, we jumping. And what happens is, and especially if you have a job where you're just sitting down all day, think about that. You're sitting down all day, you come home from work, you're sitting down again, or you're laying down watching TV. So a lot of those joints are not moving. And so before you know it, you're really stiff. And that's why usually when somebody who's older and they basically, like, they slip on a banana peel, they just fuck themselves up, because really those muscles are so tight that any little sudden movement in any of those muscles, it will tear up. It will tear up. All right. And so that's why usually older people, obviously they're older, but also part of that is because they're not moving. They're no longer moving those parts. And so that's why usually you can tell a person who's old, even if you've seen them from the backside, just by the way they're standing, you're like, oh, that's an older person, by the way they move and walk, even if you don't see them. Okay? And a younger person, you could tell, like, they can move, they flexible. And that's one thing I've been able to enjoy with the Indo Board. The Indo Board has just helped with my mobility exercises. So it keeps me and I just think overall my balance first of all, my balance has always been good. I've always been good with my balance. Even if when I fall with grace. I know it's hard to explain, but I fall with grace. Like I never fall and I never broken a bone. But then again, no one in my family has ever broken a bone. We're not bone breakers. But this definitely has helped a lot with my mobility. And if you're someone who feels as though your mobility is not there, you're off balance, and you want to pick up something that's good when it comes to fitness, and it's a great workout, trust me. You on this, bouncing yourself for good 25-30 minutes, you will pull up a sweat, especially in a room with no air conditioning or nothing, just a regular temperature room. You're gonna trust me, you're gonna build up a sweat on this. But yeah, I think if there's, let me just say this also, that I have met people who are trainers, and these several trainers that I've met, the one thing I didn't like about these trainers is that they were just strict. Okay, this is the exercises you must do, and that's, you gotta stick to this, and it's like, well, me personally, if I don't enjoy an exercise, I'm not going to do it. Even if it's something that's gonna benefit me in a particular muscle group that I want to build upon. If it's not fun, it's not enjoyable, I'm not going to do it. I'm just not, okay? And I think there's so many different exercises, so many different activities that you can do to lose weight or to build muscle, whatever it is that you're trying to attain when it comes to fitness, there's a bunch of things you could try. And I think this is one I recommend to do. I think the benefits of it is priceless. Well, I can't say priceless. I think priceless is too strong, but it's the benefits of it is enormous. Put it like that. It's enormous. It really is. And that's just my take on it. But I'm going to read you from this article. The article is from, I think this is Birdie, written by Rachel. I cannot say the name, but if you want to look it up, the article is by Birdie, Byrdie, and it's written by Rachel McPherson. Definitely butchered the last name. But she goes into the article and she goes into the different parts of the Indo Board that basically helps you out. And this is one thing that you definitely look up, because usually the videos that I've seen pertain to the Indo Board. The videos I've seen were people who got in a car accident or motorcycle accident, and now they're relearning how to walk, and now they have to slowly get back to what they were able to do before. And this is one of those things that they use, the Indo Board. All right. Now, obviously, they don't go full force and already on the person on the board. They do it gradually. Like, this is one that you can buy. So, like, if you feel as though it's hard for you to balance yourself on this, instead of using this board on this cylinder, which, trust me, is, if you're somebody who doesn't have balance at all, period, you're like a clumsy person, and you think that this will be too tough for you, and trust me, it is. There's another one that they have where it's more of a like a round ball, and it's more closer to the ground. So that way you're not going to fall off. It's going to be hard and close to impossible, but it's a starting point. It is a novice, I guess, a novice starting point. If you feel as though that maybe this will be too much with the cylinder and you want to start off at level 1, that little round ball will help a lot, because it's so close to the ground that the board is not at a high level where it's going to really, do one of these. And now it's more closer to the floor where it's just a little bit. So this is used a lot for medical purposes, for someone, after an injury, a back injury or a leg injury, whatever that may be, that they use this to kind of recreate that balance in the person's system or the person's body. But let's go here. So it increases proprioception, which is basically is your body's sixth sense, all right? A kind of awareness that helps you move through space. Without it, you wouldn't be able to walk without bumping into things or falling down, and you have to think about each step. So it basically, it's kind of like right now, I don't need to look down on the ground to know where I'm at. Like I could just walk, I could just walk. And that's another thing that I'm doing too. Because, and this is the tough part, because what they're trying to say, let me read the whole thing so you can get the full understanding of what she's saying. Your body's ability to position itself accordingly by sensing the three-dimensional space around it. When you can sense locations and actions around your body easily, you'll be able to improve balance and coordination, says David. So it's basically, be able to balance yourself without having to look, right? And that is a tricky thing, because with the board, as I said, now I'm able to walk around the whole board again. I'm able to go on the edge of the board and keep myself balanced. But then I started, I believe it was like maybe 2 weeks ago. Was it 2 weeks ago? I think it was about 2-3 weeks ago is when I started closing my eyes. Because remember, when you're seeing, you're able to see around you, and through seeing where you're at, you could kind of tell where you are on the board. Because now you could tell, because you're seeing. But then when you close your eyes and you're on the board, now you don't have your environment to kind of tell you where you are. Now you have to go by feel and kind of feel the board and kind of now balance yourself. And it's tough though, because every time I've done it and I close my eyes and I try to do the very same things I normally do, and all of a sudden I just started losing my balance. I'm like, yo, what the fuck? So it's pretty cool that you could train yourself to know where you are. So that's one thing. It builds coordination and balance. Builds muscle. I think that's a given. For me, the main muscle that really in the beginning was getting sore and really cramping up was my calves. My calves were the main one. All right, and the other one was my thigh. Like the front part of my thigh really felt it. What I was doing is I was doing squats, kind of like squats on the board. But the weird part, the muscle group wasn't the back. It was the front. The front part of my thigh was the one that was really feeling it. So it was the front part of my thigh and my calves were the ones that really, especially my calves, it really was building a muscle with my calves. Improves posture. That's another thing. Whenever I get on the board, I tend to just relax, and because there are times where I don't even work out on the board. I just get on the board and I kind of like just go with it. I just go with it. I don't try to fight it. I just go along with what the board is letting me do. Like it's weird, because that's another thing too. I like going on the board while I'm high. I will smoke weed. I will smoke some weed first, and then I'll get on the board. And then what I do, I just let go. I don't think, I don't do anything. And the weird part is, and this is why I have to agree with the improved posture, that even now as I'm thinking about doing it, I start to straighten up a bit. And I start to kind of like, I don't know, it's weird. I can't really explain it, but I know it works. It's done it for me. And from what she says, again, it improves posture. It stabilizes muscle support. Support your whole body, and are essential for maintaining proper posture. Again, I mentioned this before. Supports healthy ankles. Because it's weird. It just does. In the beginning, as you're balancing yourself, you start to realize where those weak points are. And by balancing yourself, you target those areas more and more, because it will show. Like for example, my right calf was the weakest out of the left. And that's the one that really got to work out, because you start to feel it. As you're balancing yourself and you move around the board and you're moving, you start to realize that is what it starts to target that weak area of yours. So if you have weak ankles, it's going to target that area. It's going to target it. So she says here, the ankles aren't an area of the body most people think of when training in the gym. Absolutely, exactly. However, weak ankles can cause injury and dysfunction through the body, leading to knee pain and strength plateaus. Building mobility and strength in your ankles will save you from these issues. Absolutely, absolutely. Sometimes most people don't know this, or they may not realize this, but they may have a tightening of the lower back, right? And their lower back starts to hurt, or they have stiffness, not realizing that the reason why is because they're having something wrong with the legs. Maybe one of the ankles is there's something there that's wrong with it, and now their body's kind of like it has to kind of like, you know, reposition itself to kind of take away the weight off from that ankle. And then now, because you're not having good posture, now it's leading to back problems or lower back pain. Again, the Indo Board trains the muscles in the ankle to stabilize and improve flexibility when balancing. This can prevent injury and keep you from falling, right? So again, that's one of the things that I felt too with my ankles. Like you feel where your ankle is weak at. And then as you continue on the board, you start to feel those ankles, and just overall, your whole balance, it just starts to improve. And again, this is what I mentioned before, that I've seen a lot of videos on people in the medical field using this for people who had leg injuries, back injuries, and stuff like that. So number 5 is helps with injury rehabilitation. The Indo Board isn't only fun and games. It's also an excellent tool for those in need of rehabilitation after an injury or medical condition. Since it's a no-impact exercise, certain muscles are isolated and targeted. Remember I was talking about targeted to slowly build strength. Exactly. As I said, as you're balancing yourself, whatever muscle in your legs that is weak, it's going to target it. It's going to keep at it until that muscle gets stronger. Boost core strength. This in particular, I did not find anything that can make my stomach or make my abs stronger. But then again, I don't know how. Let's read. Let's see what she says. The Indo Board trains the core by engaging the abdominal muscles and holding you in balance, says Davis. I guess so. I guess your abs are part of how you keep your balance, right? But me personally, I never felt any of my abs really being targeted while doing the workout. So I don't know. But I assume so, right? Because whenever they talk about working out, especially when it comes to balance, they always talk about building your core. There you go. Sorry about that, guys. I know it's kind of blurry there for a second. Encourages healthy weight control. Anytime you are physical and raising your heart rate, you are increasing energy expenditure and burning calories. And again, like I said, if you are on the Indo Board for about 20-30 minutes, you're gonna build up a sweat. You're going to. It's a very neat exercise. It really is. I freaking love it. Yeah, and that's a little bit. The article is more. I just gave you a little skimpy size of the article. There's more to it. Again, it's from Birdie, Byrdie, by Rachel. Written by Rachel. I can't say her last name. I'll butcher it. I'm not really good with names. But anyways, my whole point of this video is that if you're looking for something new to do, a new activity, and you feel as though you're not ready for the really physically challenging type activities, you feel as though you may be weak in certain areas, pick up the Indo Board. I'm telling you, you're going to love it. And it's very easy setup, very small, very convenient. You could take it out anytime you want. And again, if you are not really good at balance, try this. And look, check this out. You have a wall. You don't have to get on the board and just try it. You can just use the board, your wall, or go in front of your sink, kitchen sink, and just hold on to the kitchen sink as you're gaining your balance and learning how to, maneuver on the board. Okay, so very short, quick video. Just something I want to share with you guys again. And this is the other part that I love about the board is the designs. There's so many different designs. This is the one I have, as you can see. This is mine. I love this fucking board. I have another one too. I have another one. It's like a pink and baby blue board. Much smaller than this one. But this one is mine. I love this one. I love how this one looks. But yeah, definitely, if you're looking for a new activity to do, something that's fun, something that is just, it's gonna give you a workout, build muscle, correct certain imbalances that you may have in your body. It's gonna build core strength. It's gonna improve your flexibility, your mobility. It's a combination of things that this thing can do for you. But you don't think you're doing a workout. Again, you're gonna build up a sweat, but you're not going to feel like, damn, I just did 300 push-ups and 200 dips and man, I'm exhausted. No, you're gonna you're gonna jump off this board and you're gonna feel good. It's just gonna feel good, I'm telling you. Every time I do. Because something about especially after I run, this is just something I do. Whenever I go after a run, let's just say, because I run from Thursday to Sunday. So by Saturday, I'm feeling, I don't know if I can say aches and pains, but I can feel like the tightness, even though I'm stretching, and I also ice my knees and my shins. But when I really want to take or give myself some relief, I go on the board. I don't know what it is, but going on the board and again, what I tend to do more often than not is I just allow the board to just let me know where it wants to go. I don't really think about, I'm gonna do this trick, I'm gonna do this. In the very beginning, I just let it go with me. I just kind of like being on the ocean. I'm just balancing myself, and just doing that for 20, 30 minutes, it eases everything that I was feeling in my legs. I don't know what it's doing. I don't know really what is the actual thing that is happening when I'm on the board that releases that tension in my legs. I can't tell you, I'm not a doctor, but I can say that it's doing something, and it's doing something good. Because as soon as I do that, I'm good. And then what I do again, after I'm off the board, I re-ice my knees, re-ice my shins, and then I'm ready to go the next day, which is Sunday. I'm ready to go again run. Or sometimes I may switch up and I go jump rope. But anyways, yeah, this is a new activity that I think that you guys can give it. If it's something new that you want to look to on doing, I think this is a good choice. It's cheap, doesn't cost much, easy to use, even if you're a novice, because you could just lean on the wall or lean on something until you really learn how to use it. And it's small. You could just put it under your bed. It's not going to take up space. But that being said, guys, thank you for watching the video. I hope you liked it. I hope it was enjoyable. I hope it was something new that you didn't even know about. So that being said, thank you so much, guys. Appreciate it. Peace.